Welcome back. You're now tuned into the other side of sports. It's your boy Laws, OSS 980, other side of sports. Shout out my man Aaron in the building. This is a special edition. As you can hear the raspy voice, we off hours recording because we got something to say and it can't wait. It's time for this man to be fired. We're just going to keep it all the way 100. The statements that he's making just show an insensitivity towards black and brown community. It's pro-Trump in nature and it's divisive. And nobody's willing to call it out. Nobody's willing to say nothing about it. I mean, there's a couple people might say something here and there, but there's no real like force to move this dude out. And if you're thinking about football exclusively, right? And you're saying, well, he's the defensive coordinator trying to give him no.
He's terrible at his job.
This is bigger than football. It's been trash. And part of it being trash is because the players know that he don't rock with them for real. How you gonna go to a doctor, Aaron, and get help if you know that ultimately the doctor want to see you dead and don't really care about you? And he can say whatever he want. Oh yeah, I care about the players and this and then. No, you don't. Because whenever something happens from a political standpoint that doesn't align with his views, he shows he does not care.
And this is not his first rodeo. This is the second time this has happened. And they done nothing.
Which it's not even the second time.
He feels empowered under Ron Rivera to be able to do this, which starts to have me thinking that Ron is aligned with this. And I started calling out little stuff Ron was doing and saying before with other situations. And then this happened once, and then we didn't hear anything. It happens again, and they ask the team for comment, and they say they don't have a comment. And what other scenario where you got 70% black players in the NFL? Would they do this with? Would they have somebody who was anti-gay trying to lead a pack of gays? Would they do that with Jewish community? What other community would they do this with? Expect people to fall in line with somebody that you know does not align with your best interests and openly feels comfortable saying it. Whatever they believe, why does he feel comfortable coming out and saying this public? Is he a drunk? Does he hit the bottle? Let's go to the evidence here, because some people will be like, "Dog, you making this up? You reaching." Among those who are both on, this is from Pro Football Talk. Among those who are both sizing one of the most harrowing and troubling events in American history in Washington, Commanders defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, in a response to a tweet suggesting that Americans need to know the whole story of the January 6th insurrection, Del Rio said this: "Would love to understand the whole story about why the summer of riots, looting, burning, and destruction of personal property is never discussed, but this is."
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Now, if this is not the clearest indicator that he does not care about anyone who from the black and brown community, because anybody with a brain knows that the rioting and the looting and the burning was in a response to what, Aaron?
George Floyd being murdered by the police.
What are we talking about here? So he's showing that he has no sensitivity to that, and that he believes there's a demographic of people, right, that believe that the January 6th situation is not that big of a deal, and that it was a
treason. It's blatant treason. People going to jail for it. There is no scenario.
They tried to overthrow the government, Aaron,
based on fake news. It's not like they really stole the election and Bama's had to go along with it. It's fake news. And the fact that they've allowed this Bama to be out here just making these statements with no discipline is so egregious. And I keep telling people Ron Rivera is a con artist, dog. He's not a good coach. He's not a good leader. He's just there. And so, like, people are so, like, quick to want to throw Dan under the bus and blame Dan for everything. Like, Ron doesn't get blamed for any of this stuff that's going on under his watch. Like, we keep talking about a change in culture. What's changed? Is this not a distraction? Is this not going to impact the player's ability to focus?
Aaron, if you're a player on that team, what are you right now? What's your state of mind right now? Because I'm about to call them out next, because you cannot be on this team and you cannot not say anything in regards to this. You know what player did say something, no, Aaron?
White player?
A former player of Jack Del Rio. It was a similar situation. We're talking about back This is one of Jack Del Rio's responding to someone tweeting about him backing President Donald Trump. NFL Jack Del Rio's wrote on Twitter, I'm 100% for America. If you're not, you can kiss you do the math, right? But then in August of 2017, there was one player. Hey, Aaron, when we talk about my favorite players, though, all time, this dude's on that list. He's on that list. Number one, Deion Sanders, flat out. Number two is this guy. Raiders coach Jack Del Rio said he wouldn't suspend running back Marshawn Lynch for not standing during the national anthem despite calls for it from President Donald Trump. The coach defended his player right to protest Monday, per Jerry McDonald. Whoa, whoa, whoa. My stance on the whole thing is Marshawn is and all of our all of our players. I've told them how I feel. I love this country. I think it's a great honor to be able to play football, coach football for a living. And so my thought is that everybody should pay respect to the flag and stand at attention. And that's how I feel about it. But it is American. Everybody can make their own choice. And I've made that clear too. The caveat is that we know Marshawn Lynch is not no one who just going to go with the flow. He's not going to coon. And I believe that's what led to them firing Jack Del Rio at the end of the season. I mean, besides him being trash, he got fired that same season at the end.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's time for the players on the team. Chase Young, we calling you out. Montez Sweat, we call all the leaders on it. Terry McClung, anybody who's a leader on this team who stands by and doesn't say anything about this or doesn't show any dissatisfaction or whatever, you a coon. Coon chip activated. I'm saying it flat out, and you can get mad at me or whatever, and you can say, "Well, you a coon. You know you stuff you wouldn't do your job." Blah, blah. Dog, listen. Everybody got thresholds of what it stand for or whatever. Granted, right? Everybody's making that line and drawing that line, dog. And I have a line. And if this was a situation in which I was involved and the company I work for didn't show an openness to diversity or was making statements such as these, right? Guess what I'd be doing? I'm out of there. You guys have the power. You have the cachet to make something happen.
You have no defense without black players.
To influence the locker room. You mean to tell me if Chase Young ain't say something, like I'm really upset about this, and frankly, it's disappointing and disheartening to me. And it's I don't know necessarily that I'm encouraged to want to play for this man. Maybe we missed it, dog. But this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. This is why I can't really fully support the team, as much as I would like to, because of this stuff, dog. It's bad. You think about the nature of football, right? As a defensive player, offensive player, right? You putting your health on the line every play. Every play. And you got a guy on your sideline that says he doesn't care about your life or the life of your people. And so how do you think somebody who doesn't really care about your life is going to manage your health? If they don't care about your life, then how do you think they're gonna respond to your health? Your health is going to be secondary, third to whatever it is that they have in mind. They don't care about nothing else, dog. It's time for the players to say something. And they just gonna keep quiet, and we gonna keep calling them out, flat out. Flat out, dog. Somebody got to say something. They have to fire this man today. We know they not. But they should, because I'm going to tell you, this is what the fans need to know, is that it's going to show up. It's going to show up. It's going to show up in the games. It's going to show up when it matters. You can be like, dog, why you didn't make that play? Or why? Dog, sometimes the players, they may say the only way out of this joke is just to be sorry. If we sorry enough, then they'll get somebody else. We lose enough, then they'll get somebody else.
Or will it? Y'all ain't lose enough last year?
I thought so. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows, man?
The defense was trash. Loaded with talent. The
27th in the league.
Trash. Expected to be the top 5 defense in the league going into the season. They were trash. Like, I don't know what they're protecting other than an ideology. That's all it is.
We need media in these spaces to not be asking these ha questions, dog. They need to be going straight to it. And if Ron Rivera sits up there and be like, no comment, or I'm not going to, Bama's is tiptoeing on eggshells. That's why we can't get in the room. Because if we there, I'm going to ask the question, dog. How do you defend to your players that your coach believes that George Floyd's death, which incited these riots and looting and things, were of no consequence and had no value? How do you mirror that to your players, which is predominantly African American and from those communities?
Because you can't. Because nobody's going to stand up and say, hey, we're not showing up to OTAs as long as he's the D coordinator. So, Ron, you figure it out.
Because I'm telling you, where a protest will work is in this situation. We not practicing while this Bama's on the team as the defensive coordinator, period. Guess what would happen, Aaron? They'd have to make a move. He got to go. He got to go. That's all it would take. That's all it would take. If 5 of the best players on defense say, hey, look, man, we not cool with this. And we don't have to stand for it. And in this climate, right now, today, Aaron, with things that are the way they are, you don't think you would get the support?
And also with the situation with Dan Snyder, where it's super sensitivity to everything that's going on over there.
You already know.
But they already practicing for the day. They didn't practice for the morning. That the NBA would never. But football,
heck, the WNBA would never. What you mean?
But football got that plantation mentality where you got these masses.
I mean, really, they on the field for real. They are on the field. They in a field for real, dog. And the thing is, it's so easy. All they would have to do is just be like, we're not practicing today. We're not practicing today. We're not practicing tomorrow. And they be like, oh, y'all going to jeopardize the team. We not jeopardizing
the team.
He jeopardizing the team. Making those statements so boldly. And this is the thing. The problem with it is that we talked about it yesterday a little bit about the Deshaun thing. I ain't make this point, but I'm trying to tell you because it's relevant. Is that once people get away with stuff like this, or certain behaviors that are just, you would look at them like, dog, that's crazy. Like, that's so what? And they do not get punished for it, or they do not be held accountable for it, and they do not have any like adverse things happen to their pockets or whatever. Guess what, Aaron? It emboldens them to do more and go further.
And that's what this is, because he didn't get punished. Nothing happened when he did it the first time.
And so what you think? It's just, dog, he's tweeting. Do you know how, like,
60 years old? He can't stay off Twitter? Or he can't stay off the bottle? Which one is it?
Got him! Got him!
He had to be drunk out here tweeting this. It makes no sense. It's the most illogical, unprofessional thing I've seen in the NFL in some time, though. Like, the coach can't stay off Twitter?
The players can. Aaron, let's flip the script. And let's say a player, let's say Chase Young, says something insensitive. What do you think will be the repercussions of that? It'd be a media firestorm.
Immediate comment and immediate suspension. Some type of discipline, and they're going to want everybody to know what that discipline is, to know that they did something and didn't just let this just slide under the rug.
Jack Del Rio does not care about black people, dog.
He's a flat-out racist.
Flat out. And just like many racists, they navigate in spaces with black people. They
because that's where the money is. Where his dumb ass gonna get that kind of bread anywhere else in life? He got to be around him. And the fact that he still feels comfortable saying this stuff when he knows he has to be in these environments with all these black people means that he's emboldened and feels comfortable. And that comes from the head coach. You think he'd feel comfortable saying that if he was coaching under Mike Tomlin? Or even Sean McVay? Like, you think he'd feel comfortable doing that?
Get him out of here, dog. Let me say it again. Get him out of here. I will not support the team with my money, which is the only support that really matters for real, till he's gone. And like you say, Rivera is a part of that. He's culpable in this whole situation, allowing him the space to be able to make those comments. Either one, he agrees with them behind the scenes.
They've had these conversations before. There's no way around it. They've had these kind of conversations before. Ron got enough common sense not to go and tweet it out, but they've had these conversations before. You know he's one of those military guys, old world, pass for white type Bammers. You know they've had these conversations before. It's no way he goes a second time and feels comfortable publicly tweeting this stuff, sympathizing with insurrectionists and treasonists, unless he knows that the head coach at least sympathizes with what he's saying.
Yeah.
There's no way you just go out
because
and say that.
the person who is in charge of your standing, your job, employment and stuff, right, has to agree. If you feel emboldened to tweet this stuff out. Because otherwise you're going to keep it hush hush and like kind of keep your stuff to yourself and, you know, stay in your little lane.
I say 80% of the white people in the league, especially the old ones, the old coaches, feel this way, but they got enough common sense not to tweet it out. They got enough common sense to connect it to the fact that they have to lead a bunch of black players on the field and that this could be a distraction or take away from their ability to lead or be successful. But being with Washington, he doesn't have to be successful. He goes in there with all that talent, 5 first-round picks in the front 7, and still can't have a top 20 defense, top 25. He knows he doesn't need to be successful. He doesn't have to do anything to keep his job other than to maintain a friendship with the head coach. We see the nepotism and the buddy-buddy system Ron's running over there anyway. It's not about success. It's not about changing the culture. It's not about winning. It's about maintaining paychecks and trying to prove people wrong. That's what it's all about over there.
They should have been fine because I'm telling you, the result is going to show you the dissatisfaction.
We've been saying this for 2 years, though. This is not new for us because this comment came out. From the first tweets, we've been calling Jack Del Rio a racist. We've been saying Ron's a sympathizer. And we're saying, how can you have that much talent and the defense be that bad? There's a disconnect. There's a huge disconnect. And these players are getting younger, not older. So it's like the gap is getting bigger and bigger between somebody who thinks like a Del Rio and these young guys coming into the league now. And he's got to go.
Yeah.
Dan, this is time for you to stand up and be an owner and do something positive for a change.
I don't even want that vibe on my team at all, Aaron. Any parts of it.
But they love it.
They wouldn't handpick the quarterback. It could destroy a locker room.
Look at the quarterback they handpicked last year and tried it out there for 16 games. Another MAGA man with the same kind of tweets all over his Twitter and Instagram. Like, this is the philosophy of the team. Ron just doesn't know he's not in Carolina or Del Rio's not in Jacksonville, Florida anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna show them that they're not. If you are a media person and you go in there and you're not asking these hard questions or you're not challenging Ron Rivera because you're worried about staying in the good graces, I get it, but you're not doing your job.
Jack Del Rio spoke too.
We have that ability. I love this country, and I believe what I believe, and I've said what I want to say, and every now and then there's some people that get offended by it. It's a slow news cycle, so I guess Mike Florio picked something up yesterday and talked about it. It's not the first time Mike and I have disagreed about things.
A slow news cycle.
But, this is team-sponsored
pretty much it.
Commentary.
Not a whole lot to it. But what I am excited about is what's going on right now with us. And
he wasn't even told to apologize.
So football questions.
He wasn't told he was wrong in any way.
I'd like to focus. If anybody else wants to talk about other things, we can set something out at another time. But that's kind of how I see it.
You like to express yourself in the offseason. It's been a couple years in a row. Is that like, what is it about this time that you want to speak up on certain issues?
No particular, time or thing about off season or in season.
Weak ass questions.
And you obviously took, I think, a stance that was counter to some players and how they felt in summer 2020. Are you worried at all about how your players would?
Not at all.
Okay.
See,
Do you think
the arrogance.
reflect a lot of people that aren't putting those out there out of fear or anything else?
Some people may be swayed by that, but again, I'm going to be the man I am, and I operate here as a coach with nothing but love and respect for everybody I work with.
Coach, there are a lot of African Americans on your team. I know you said you're not really worried at all.
Yeah.
But do you think it has any effect on them knowing their beliefs and where maybe the communities they come from when it comes down to police brutality, knowing that you kind of compared those George Floyd protests with January 6th?
There we go.
No, I don't think race had anything to do with that incident. And
Are you kidding me?
Well, not race, but in regards to just the race that believes in and supports the Black Lives Matter movement. Are you concerned that some of those players are a little bit concerned about what your personal opinion?
No, I'm not.
When you said that incident,
I'm sorry.
when you said that incident just now, what did you?
I think we know what we're talking about here. I mean, I don't. There's really nothing else.
Shucking and jiving. Tap dance.
Anything else?
I'll go defense. Last year felt like you guys got off to a slower start than you wanted. As you go back and look at it, what kinds of things do you feel more prepared for this year or better able?
Well, we hope to be better, right?
As soon as it's about to get intense, my man came in to the
Why he
rescue.
come and save
to
him?
being here and working.
I'm done with it, Aaron. I'm done with it.
His
Follow
response
us
his response
ahead.
told us more about what Ron has or hasn't said to him than anything else we could have even speculated.
It was no apologies.
No apology, no acknowledgement of anything wrong. And for me, like, I already didn't rock with him. Ron is a con artist. I've been saying it. Jack Del Rio's a flat out racist. Been saying it. Like, I can't think of anything more of a turn off than what's already been done with this squad than this. And dog, I just don't see how people could rock with this squad. I don't see it. Like, I know people coon chip turn on when they come to football, and people like justify reasons to root for the team they've been rooting for their whole life. But at what point did Bama's draw the line? Like, how you could root for Ron Rivera in this squad? Like, I don't get it. As a black person, you know, white people are going to do what white people are going to do. They sympathize. They probably agree. But for black people to continually be bending over backwards to justify this foolishness that comes away from this team, like, make it make sense.
Follow us at OSS 980 at Other Side of Sports. We out.